Back on Get Down to Business, the show all about small business jobs and entrepreneurship. You can get on my website, shalomklein.com. That's where you can download podcasts from this program and find out a sneak peek of who's going to be next week on the show all about small business jobs and entrepreneurship. So my next guest was listed by the New Jersey Monthly Magazine as a New Jersey Super Lawyers Rising Stars back in March 2012. And indeed, he's a rising star here in Illinois as well. My next guest, David Rubenstein, who is a business law attorney. I appreciate you joining us here on the program. David, welcome to Get Down to Business.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So I know you're involved in working with a lot of business owners, and you assume the role as a trusted advisor. As I just discussed with my last guest, it's always fascinating for me to learn about how businesses develop and what are the first steps that business owners take. David, you're involved in advising your clients, entrepreneurs and business owners that are getting their business started. What are some of the first steps that you recommend, whether you're launching a product or a service that you take if you employ people and you're starting to market your services out to the public?
Well, the first thing and the most important thing you want to do is to formalize what your expectations are, either with yourself or with your partner. If you decide to have a partner in your business, as many people do, one of the things you'll want to do is to sit down with that person and really get down in pen and paper, in black and white, what are each person's expectations about how this business will run, who will get what, whose rights and responsibilities are involved, and making sure that in the event that it ever goes bad, in the event that you decide to break up, so to speak, have a formula in place so you can determine what is the best way to break up in an amicable fashion.
Oh, that's a lot for a business owner to handle, and that's why they work with folks like you. So, David, let's talk about you. Let's talk about your story. You're running a successful law firm in Chicago, but I know you're not originally, or perhaps you've not always practiced just here in Chicago. How did you get started? What made you decide that you wanted to work with the tough world of entrepreneurs, folks that are dreamers and might not be the best at protecting themselves?
Sure. So following law school, I clerked for 1 year with a judge, working behind the scenes with a judge in his chambers, learning about how judges make decisions. From there, I used that experience to work at a large law firm called Sills, Cummins & Groch, which was one of the top five largest law firms in New Jersey. After that, I went to more of a boutique firm and then ultimately started my own practice. And what I found along the way, having worked at all of these different experiences, is that there are very few attorneys out there who are business attorneys working directly for the business owner who can handle the full life cycle of their business. Most lawyers are either one or the other. They're either transactional, meaning they draft agreements and they sit in office and they never see court or the light of day. And then there are other attorneys who are litigation only. So they only go to court and they never draft documents or review agreements or do anything in that, so to speak. But I found that the real benefit is having a lawyer who can do both, which is what I do. And that is because you have the perspective of both sides, so you can make sure that you're drafting the agreement the right way so that it can be enforced later in a court. There are too many times where I've heard from clients who have an attorney draft them an agreement and then something goes wrong and they go back to that attorney and the attorney says, I'm sorry, you're going to have to go down the street. I don't handle that kind of problem. You're going to have to get another lawyer just to handle the same problem. And so for me, being able to handle both the transactional and the litigation allows the benefit of my perspective for business owners to be successful in their business.
And David, you've used a fascinating term about life cycle, because I think that's very interesting. Every business is indeed at a different place. When you're starting a business, you may not have an employee. Then you bring somebody on, and that creates its unique sets of challenges. As you start to grow your business and you have contracts with your clients, that brings on another set of challenges. You buy a building, some more things. So many businesses, as they grow, if they get to the point that they are large enough, they bring on a general counsel. I know that you've given a lot of thought to that matter, and you've identified ways that some businesses that are just the right size might not have to bring somebody on full-time to fill that role. David, tell us a little bit about how your practice and how your team of attorneys can actually help a business owner that might not be looking to bring somebody on full-time in a general counsel role.
Right. So one of the services that I offer is an outsourced general counsel type of position, where you get the benefits of a general counsel but don't have to have someone full-time on the payroll. And so what I do is I work alongside with business owners and basically provide all the general counsel services that they could use, such as reviewing agreements, corporate formation, reviewing their practices to ensure that they're successful as possible, efficient as possible, that they're saving the most amount of taxes, and to keep the most amount of money that they earn in their pocket. At the end of the day, the purpose of the business owner is to keep as much of his money in his pocket as possible. And so my goal as an attorney, as a general counsel provider, becomes almost a trusted advisor to that person, where they know they can call me up at any time and say, hey, I'm thinking about doing this. I'm thinking about doing that. Sometimes it doesn't even have to be legally related. Sometimes I get calls from business owners who are just want to have another person they can bounce ideas off of, a trusted advisor or a member on their board who they know knows the ins and outs of their business and knows advice to help them scale and grow efficiently.
Fascinating. Very, very interesting. And I'm assuming that many of these functions can be handled without even spending a tremendous amount of face time as well. I believe the term that you've used on your website, which of course we'll share with our listeners, it's actually called virtual general counsel services. So David, you believe that that businesses can actually save money by actually having an ongoing relationship, meaning not using one of those services. We'll avoid mentioning them on the air, but the services that might be promoted on the radio of, you pay a monthly fee, and then I guess depending on who answers the phone or who responds to the website inquiry, you could actually have a ongoing relationship with the same team of attorneys on a regular basis, but actually save money by having the virtual general counsel services.
Right. The great thing about what I provide is that I provide the big firm experience for a fraction of the cost. And so many times clients will complain to me and say they'll hire this law firm or that law firm, and they can never get the main person on the phone. They're always shuffled to the paralegal or some associate down the chain, and that's not what they're paying for, but they get charged the same amount. When you hire me, you get me. You get the benefit of my experience. You'll know that you can call me directly. I'll pick up the phone, and I'll be able to answer and handle your questions that you have. And when you're dealing with something like that, you want it to be economical. You don't want to have some time where you're afraid to call your lawyer. God forbid if there's an issue or a problem. And so many clients tell me that they're afraid from other lawyers to call their lawyer because they know they're going to get billed or charged for every single little call, every single little thing. And that's not how you develop a trusting relationship with your lawyer, whose basically goal is to help you grow your business and answer any questions you might have.
That's indeed the case. So, David, we've got time just for one more question, something that's been on my mind as we've been following the news. We hear all about cybersecurity issues, and I can think of many concerns both on the call of the consumer side as well as on the provider side. I'm curious if you've been following this and what you're hearing from your clients in regards to protecting their clients' data as well as they use services. What are the sort of steps and things that people should be taking to protect their identity and protect information?
Sure. So it's definitely a big problem that is not going away anytime soon. The best thing and the most important thing you could do is make sure that whoever you're contracting with to get data or release data from, you have a very firm agreement in place about what happens in the event that there is a data breach. So all of this ends up governing by contract. And at the end of the day, if data is lost or stolen or wherever it is, and it ends up going to court, the first thing that a judge is going to look at is, well, what was the original agreement between the parties?
So have that agreement in place. protect yourself and plan ahead. Very good advice, David. We are indeed out of time, but I want to make sure our listeners can find you online and on the phone. We've got 15 seconds remaining. How can people get a hold of you?
Sure. So you can reach me at my office at 312-466-5612. My office is in downtown Chicago, 30 South Wacker, right next to the Opera House. And you could also check out my website at RubensteinBusinessLaw.com.
Fantastic. Well, David Rubenstein, we appreciate you joining us on the air. We'll be sure to check back in with you. After that lines, we've got some fantastic guests on the air. Don't touch the dial. Chicago, you're listening to Get Down to Business.
A new